legends, if you will, main attraction. And then it's gone through so many phases. And then by the time that I got into it, it's just continued to grow. And I mean, everyone just knows it as like Dee Rotten. If not that, for sure, everyone should know Josephine Baker. Like, that's the very least anyone can do if you're going to look up anything with burlesque. It has to be Josephine Baker. But yeah, and someone had, I believe, Jeez Louise, who's a New Orleans performer, she said it perfectly in that burlesque is theater's dirty little secret, and it's always existed. It's pretty much just dates back to just, vaudeville and old theater, and it's just parody of life with, nakedity.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's entertaining, man, and it's like, you get a nice crowd out for it. Every time there's a burlesque show here, it's always a great night.
It's fun, man. You get to hear me say titties on the microphone over like 20 times. There used to be a drinking game. One time Melody, I think, clocked in 75 times I said titties in one night. But then, we kind of stopped suggesting to make it a drinking game because that would be a little too blackout. Yeah,
that'd be rough.
That'd be a little too rough.
Question. So compared to like when you first got into the scene and, kind of like nowadays, how many opportunities are available now compared to like when you first kind of got your feet wet and like looking for a place to either like do some type of dancing work and stuff like that?
So I would say that it has grown more, and that's out of the fact that between, because I've been in burlesque for about 5 years. The show, by the way, is going to turn 4 next year.
Wow.
Right? Wow, it's a full-ass toddler.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Jesus.
so, and part of that was, creating an opportunity for myself and other of my colleagues who, we wanted to showcase ourselves and our friends more, and that's pretty much from that narrative and getting in our own feet wet as producers for a lot of people that have then taken over spaces. So essentially, it's grown because of people wanting to create more opportunities for a lot of the LGBTQIA community and, mostly POC, because that's always a thing of, seeing more POC on
POC is what?
Person of color.
Gotcha.
So
What does it mean to produce a burlesque show? Like what are all the, the cogs that go into something like that?
I mean, at the most basic formula, if you will, is, you need to have a budget because nobody should be doing this shit for free.
So the producer pays for everything?
If not everything, if it's not coming from their own budget, it's sometimes it's arranged with the bar, if you will. So a bar or a venue can have a budget, and that's how you were then wrangled in to then expand upon that within the context of the budget. So it depends either way. But bottom line, whether it's you or the bar or wherever, there has to be a budget to pay people. There has to be a cast of, honestly, most shows, because of budget and because of New York City here, it's really like 3 to 5 people is realistic. And because, you can do a lot with, less is more. My shows are massive, but that's by choice and by thematic reasons. But anyway, so you need a budget, you need a cast, and really a space to do it. Those are kind of the really main things that you need to have, those 3 things. And because kind of if the properly, like anything else, if you build it, they will come. So you will create an audience the more that you do it and the more that you showcase it and all that kinds of jazz, if you will.
Cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
What other places do you perform at?
So I have 2 shows. So here, Metal Grade Babes Burlesque, every last Sunday. And then I just now inherited a new show at Freddy's Bar in the back room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's every Thursday, first Thursday of the month. So
Queen's Court.
Queen's Court, yes, which is basically a big unbirthday party, if you will, in a tiny-ass space. So it's a play on many words of the idea of Queen's Court, because my burlesque name is Queen Sinera, for those that did not know. So a play, of course, on a quinceañera, and although no one wants to revisit being 15 for any reasons, it's because that's what a quince is, coming of age at 15. It's a coming of celebrating of life show. So that show is very small, and it's all about just celebrating everyone in that moment of time between the audience, the performers. I always make cake from a box. And yeah.
Duncan Hines?
No, but
Devil's
Betty Crocker.
food.
It's the strawberry funfetti. Again, cake from a box. It's made with love, but
You have to have a cake for the box.
Exactly. Hey. So yeah, and then I perform all over throughout everywhere else. I'm a part of Last Chance Dancers, which that is a group of myself and 4 other burlesque individuals that is speared by Maggie McMuffin and Venetrix, and that we specialize in doing a full vinyl album from front to back, essentially no hosting, no mercy, and we perform essentially an homage to said album. We just did Rob Zombie's Hellbilly Deluxe, and actually we're normally at City Reliquary, which is outside, but it's getting colder, and for that we're coming inside here to Lucky 13 Saloon. So
when's that gonna happen?
In December through February, we'll be here every third Friday. So every third Friday, Last Chance Dancers will be here. And those albums here will be doing Kiss, Dynasty, Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails, and Screaming for Vengeance by Judas Priest.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's, and Esme, who is also a co-babe of mine, dancer, is part of Last Chance Dancers.
So you guys are like a band, or?
Kind of, but better
A
with
band
no
of
instruments. I'm just kidding.
Misfits without
Yes.
misfits.
Yes. The way that like Venetrix described it is like, because we developed this, this show's turning 2 years old. It came out during the pandemic, specifically during Footloose times when Cuomo was like, no fun, nothing, like.
Yeah.
And
Sit
part
down.
of that's part of why we were at Reliquary, because it's a tiny museum, which by the way, you should go be a member for those who don't know.
What is Reliquary? I don't even know what that is.
City Reliquary is this tiny, very charming museum in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, that is all things dedicated to New York City, from signs to pizza, raised pizzas, whatever. They have a Wonder Woman exhibit right now, so it's a very cute, kind of like think of this back room, but with all New York City shit.
That's cool.
But also
It is
they
very
got
cool.
like naked girls in the back.
Yes, well, it's a backyard that you can do a lot more with just than naked girls. But yes, we get naked back there. So anyway, but it gets too cold, and we did that experiment all the way because we did those shows outside November through March. But hey, people do tip you if your nipples are really that hard and cold. So we learned that lesson, but not worth the hypothermia. And thankfully, between Boss 1 and Boss 2 and available, we're of course, but within cabaret laws will be covered. But anyway, it's a different show here. I digress.
You got heat.
Yes, we got
Yeah,
heat.
it's good. We got heat.
And then
Yes.
you also do audio work where you're doing that kind of
Yes, so I'm a live engineer. I do the faders and knobs thing, and I specifically went to IAR for that. Nothing against recording, I just don't have the patience for it. A lot of people don't, I think, really give live the credit that it needs. Other than when go to an epic concert, it should be great because of whoever their touring front of house engineer is. I digress. But I got into it because I got tired of going to all my friends' shows and seeing either the board on and the engineer outside smoking, or just not there, or getting drunk, or on the phone, or just not present. Anyway, it's a very present job, and I'm very happy to do it. And I do it at Windjammer, which is in Ridgewood, Queens. Technically, I guess off that cusp of Bushwick and Ridgewood, and I
Yeah.
do it at Brooklyn Music School and freelance other places.
Did you do a thing this weekend somewhere, somebody's show, something like that?
I stepped in to run the board for Betty Brash's burlesque show at the Gutter, very cute space, so I can step in to do that too.
Nice.
Pasties on or off.
Listen, you have to have a good live sound engineer because fucking bad ones can ruin your club or
It's
your night.
horrible,
Yeah.
man. And it's just not fun for the band or for the audience. Like, the whole point of live is, it's my job in this given moment of time, to make your shit sound as good as I can in this room.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't, recreate your album, if you will, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure that everyone is having a grand old time.
Yeah, listen, it's up to the bands to perform well too, because you can't polish.
Oh,
turd.
yeah.
You can't
Oh,
polish
yeah.
a turd. You know what I mean?
And
Like if a band sucks, they suck.
And I tell bands, like, when they finish, like, oh, thank you so much. I'm like, no, well, thank you, because it makes my job easy when y'all know what you're doing, when you listen to each other.
Yeah.
When you kindly listen to me and, realize I'm not being curmudgeon when I say, please don't turn up. To all guitarists and bassists, I say it with love. I do.
Glad we got
It's
some
just-
good sound people
The
over here.
louder the
Yeah.
better, man.
Yeah.
Hell no.
Listen, I like
Hell no.
I like it loud too, but it's got to be tasteful loud. You know what I mean? It's
Exactly.
got to be.
Exactly. No one needs to have tinnitus.
Yeah.
Like
No
we
one
had a
needs
guy
that.
with a tiny little 15-watt. I don't even think you were here that day.
What?
Guy had a little 15-watt line 6.
Yeah.
And he's cranking it up as much as he could, but he also sucked.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
just like
just,
Yeah.
turning up is not always the answer.
putting a megaphone in front of a fucking boombox.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and listen, we got good sound guys here, but every once in a while, I'll walk in and it'll sound a little weird. I'll just look at my sound guy and he'll just like put his hands up. He's like, all right,
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you could do, and then sometimes shit will happen.
Yeah.
Like, I swear there are sound ghosts that are like, yeah, no, that's just not gonna work.
yeah.
No matter how many cables you try, it's just not gonna work.
Yeah, there's always issues too, man. Like you got to think on the fly because
Yep.
like cables go bad and
Oh, yeah.
fucking somebody's head blows out or like whatever, a drum fucking
In a
some-
musical sense, not in an actual. For those who didn't understand.
Yeah, something's always gonna fucking go wrong. So you need like ton of backup shit too, So yeah.
Yeah, no, so you
Stressful.
just really got to be on it. That's what I'm saying. And, like, again, all the love to recording engineers, just like, I really cannot, I don't have the brain for that. So, props
Yeah,
to you all out there.
takes a different kind of guy too.
It does.
Yeah.
A whole nother level of patience.
Yeah,
And a little bit of mania, too.
Oh, yeah.
definitely.
Guy like fucking Devin Townsend. He's a little crazy,
Yeah,
but his
yeah,
shit
yeah.
sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds amazing.
Yeah, no, I've recorded with some guys who are like fucking mental. You know what I mean?
You
Because-
kind of have to be,
yeah.
especially if you're a mastering engineer, because that's so, like, it's very between, like, a special subjective relationship between the engineer and the artist. And it's like, you could go on for days as to, like, no, but this. And eventually you're just going to have to be like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah. And like, let's just recording something. Oh, and you're listening to it over and over and over. And like, you're like, fuck, I just want to, I'm over it. I'm over it. But yeah, it's totally two different animals.
It is. So I like live. And it also separates. I make the jokes. I normally am there at Windjammer usually Saturday nights. Right now it's Thursdays because my colleague is taking a glass blowing class. When it was first introduced to me, like, can you please take Thursdays? I thought, like, yeah, Victor, I'm sure you're going on tour. I got you. Because the dude wants to make a
Say,
bass.
yeah,
And that's
I'm
cool.
gonna go blow some
Live
glass.
your life. I'm going to blow some glass.
I get it.
But it works anyway. But it breaks up the time from men pawing at me on the bar, from then men pawing at me to for a cable and a DI box. So two different parts of my brain.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah.
I
But I still do it with a smile.
I hope they're not creepy when they're asking for a cable. Like,
No, you'd be surprised. I
Yeah.
mean, that's, if not creepy, just clueless. That's always the one thing where I'm like, all right, focus.
yeah.
Especially also because I'm not a very tall person. So I lose my line of sight. So it just looks comical when, you see this like running bob of a human being like running to get a cable.
Yeah.
I'm very much like I'm an audio gremlin.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's like full, like, so between the burlesque and the sound and all that, your schedule's full.
For the most part, yeah. I essentially like took a hiatus from singing. The last thing I did in terms of like the opera world was I was a soloist for the Manhattan Wind Ensemble, literally right before like the world shut down. And it's just one of those to get back into. Out of all the art forms, I mean, opera is like the last to get its shit together, if you will, in terms of like losing and shedding that layer of elitism and classism. And I mean, if you tap into what's going on with them, I mean, it's been such a struggle to get it such to be like a prominent art form, and there's no reason for it not to be. And so within that, and also dealing with conductors who do make like, a casting couch situation. That shit's just not, in Hollywood. Yeah, no, it's fucking everywhere. So it's a lot to navigate. And so I am getting back into it
Can
But it's just
you
been,
bust out a note right now? Some kind of opera, something.
Sure, yeah.
Get on that mixer real quick.
I just never saw it for like
No,
up
I know.
front. So
I
I was,
just-
We actually have a few.
There's a few clips.
Yeah.
Noble Seigneur, salut.
I'm putting my shit
Yeah.
on. There we go. Oh, shit, dude. Like, did not expect that to come out of you.
I didn't expect that
Holy
either.
shit, man.
There you go.
That's what she said.
Hey. Not a euphemism either.
So how deep were you into it? Like before COVID and all that kind of shit? Like were you performing a lot doing opera?
Yeah, well, the first thing, funny enough, the first thing I ever produced before Metal Grade was a full-length ass opera by David Chesky, a modern new piece, and it was commissioned and done at Brooklyn Music School, and that was my very much Fisher-Price, my first time producing anything, which that is a whole different gambit in itself. But I survived, and it did happen, and no one died, and the show successfully ran for the weekend it was scheduled. And yeah, I was very much kind of, fixated on making that my main career, and I still am. It's just been on the back burner because of the pandemic and because of interpersonal relationships that I had within certain groups where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep subjecting myself to this because of, creepy factors, and that regard.
Yeah, but not that many people could do that shit, though. That was amazing.
No, thank you. And this is where, like, the hard part of what I say of, opera, then losing this whole line of idea of what it should be. Because I grew up, like, when I was in both undergrad and grad school, I probably, if I had a nickel for every time someone said, you would be great in West Side Story, I would not need to, I would be in Fiji right now. I would be super rich and just off of that comment alone. But my point is like, that's from, people seeing me as a Latina. I'm half Puerto Rican, Mexican, Native American, for those who want to know. It's a very, very commonly question that I get asked here. Anyway, but that is the point in that they only have an idea of what certain, repertoire I should be singing. And that shit's got to change. So with that sort of frustration in mind, and also in the same fact of like, because in competitions I would get notes of like, oh, there's such a big voice from a tiny person. Cool. But, then again of like the idea of, and this is why I'm a mezzo-soprano for, to be specific. And what that means is I specialize in pants roles. And because of my height, why this, I mentioned that, so I am very good at specializing in playing horny teenage boys. Yes.
Me too.
That's how we get along so well, boss. For that, it put me in a box of like, well, these are the only roles that I can look at. And that also comes from, as I said too, from other teachers being like, well, I can't, no one will cast you because of X, Y, and Z, which, again, bullshit, because it's make-believe. Even if it's out of, like, context of, history, which a lot of stories are in the opera canon, but still, either way, the biggest issue right now is, I shouldn't even have to be saying this, but, like, one specific example of how much opera still has its head in its ass is they still let stars like Anna Netrebko, who is a prominent Russian soprano, and while talented, very delusional, and
Is that fat dude with the beard?
no, that's Pavarotti.
Okay.
You
Anyway.
got one opera singer. You
Just
got to throw
one.
it out.
Listen, at least she knew one.
Yeah.
But she insists on doing blackface or brownface
Yeah?
when she does Aida, which Aida is an opera that takes place in Egypt. And so there's still, the Royal Opera House in London just had their first African-American Othello. Like that, yeah.
Really?
Your face of like, really? That in 2020? Yes, really. Why am I
Russians.
saying that? Well, fucking everybody with, it's a very classist, elitist idea of, what it should be. And again, like, and the other problem is there's so much other new music out there. It's not like, it died after the 20th century. It's been treated that way, but it doesn't need to be. Like, there's just so much shit out there, and that's why people are composing is an actual thing that you know, you can go study as well. As silly as it is as music, don't get me wrong. It's very funny to be like, I'm a master of music. It means, you know,
is it true
paper.
that the males get castrated to get their voice fucking higher? Or?
That was in a different time, dear.
But
We
I was-
don't do
but-
that anymore.
Okay,
But
I
yes,
understand.
that did happen. Shit really did happen. Castrati, yeah. Hence the term castration.
God damn.
The more you know.
Shit.
Yo, so you've kind of what's cool. So you've kind of split between like, you know, the upper world. I see very uppity and whatever, and then you in the burlesque world and go-go dancing and all that other stuff. You're having like two opposite ends, which is kind of cool.
They are and they aren't. They are very still interrelated, man. Like that's kind of why like I exist in the performance scepter, if you will. For that reason is because they all lend itself to each other. You know, like opera is essentially what birthed the whole concept of what we know as theater, musical theater. You know, and prior to that, it's Greek tragedy. But the point is, you know, from that movement, and that's partially why I got into it, was from the whole history of how it just lent itself to what we know it as today. And the main basis of it is it's all about human life and tragedy, which that shit never goes away. So, and that's why certain, you know, pieces, especially as everyone knows from Looney Tunes, Barber of Seville and all that, I mean, they are as relevant as they were from when they were, you know, created. And in terms of with burlesque, like I incorporate sing and strips, if you will. So for all of the rep that I did learn, I just then take off my clothes instead of keeping them on while singing and, you know, holding the notes. And anyway, so, but it's all still part of the same, you know, vein, if you will. Like I said, like burlesque is, as someone had said, like theater's dirty little secret. And with that, then, you know, you have dancers, which then, you know, leads into go-go and, excuse me, all these other avenues that, you know, exist within one as one.
How is burlesque like in New York City? It's big. In other cities, is like burlesque a thing? I don't even know.
It is. It totally is. Jeff, you gotta get out more. Stop flying to just Florida. Stop flying to just Florida and San Antonio. Go out.
I know.
But California, Ohio.
Ohio?
Yes,
Ohio.
Ohio.
Listen,
Ohio has a burlesque.
I was-
Vermont.
I was just in Cleveland, and I have no desire to go back. I'm sorry, anybody from
well,
Cleveland, but
You know, New Mexico, Arizona, so at Texas, it does exist. There is I think Alaska even. Yes, they do take their clothes off in Alaska.
What?
I know,
I know
right?
there's a lot
It's
of
not
strip clubs
just
in
Alaska.
fish and ice.
They got to
Who
do
knew?
something to stay warm.
Exactly. But yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It exists internationally as well too. You know, Ibiza has a festival. Oslo, yeah, Stockholm.
all right.
It,
I figured in
we're
Europe. it's-
everywhere. You can shake your tits everywhere you can imagine. Well, maybe not everywhere you can imagine. Probably not in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Realistically speaking, that it's probably not happening there.
Then you will get cast.
Yeah, they need
Then other
burlesque
things
over
will
there,
happen.
bro.
Yeah.
But within, you know, westernized, accepting cultures between domestic and international, it exists.
Have you traveled for it at all?
I have traveled for it domestically. So I was in the Burlesque Festival, which is really cool. It is a specific burlesque festival solely dedicated to metal in Portland, Oregon.
Really?
Yep. That's done at Dante's Inferno Bar, really cool bar, and a few other spots.
Oregon. I would figure it would be in Oregon. There was a
Yeah.
vegan strip club in fucking Oregon.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is that?
It didn't last, but there was a vegan strip club in Oregon.
Was it vegan food or were all the girls vegan?
What can I say? How does that work?
It was vegan food, and it was a strip club, yeah.
Well, I know in the strip clubs at Oregon, I think that they can do all nude in Oregon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do a lot of shit in Oregon.
do a lot of shit in Oregon. Yes,
Can-
mushrooms are legal in Oregon too.
Every drug is
I
legal
think everything.
in Oregon.
There you go.
Everything is decriminalized
Yep.
in Oregon.
Yes.
So yeah.
Let's go to Oregon.
I tried crack years ago. It wasn't my thing. I'm good.
Checked it off the list.
Yeah. So you went to Oregon to the. How big was that festival?
That was 2 nights and at least like I want to say like 50 of us, something like
All
that.
right.
And this was like the year just after, things opening from the pandemic, which I got to say, when I went, I mean, Portland was still reopening.
So did they make you wear a mask while you were naked?
No.
Because I think that would be really fucking stupid, but funny at the same time.
Hey, man, we did it for
Yeah.
the shows that still had to be masked here. It can't, we danced with masks on.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm serious as a heart
So we
attack.
can watch you spin around a fucking pole, but you must wear that mask.
Well, dude, it was
It
for
was law.
yeah.
It
For a
was-
while, we had the girls on the bar. Like you weren't allowed inside, but you had the seats outside, and the girls were on the bar, and they'd walk to the end of the bar, and we had a tip jar at the
Would
end
they
of
have
the bar.
binoculars and shit? Oh, man.
Man, we just wore masks. But I gotta say that was as fucked up as those times were. It was really cool to see that every one of our patrons just helped us get with the program as best as we could, because that shit was always changing. And so when we couldn't take tips on our person, we had tip jars. And so for people to consciously
Wait, you weren't allowed to fucking take money from
No,
someone?
dude.
No.
There was a whole evolution of like.
The fuck?
It was crazy.
At first, it was
wild.
like
Crazy
people
times,
weren't even
man.
allowed inside. Like people just had to walk by and literally walk by and watch us dance. Like it was an entire process of what this
Yo,
looked
this
like.
city's fucked
Yeah,
up,
it was
man.
fucked up.
It was wild,
Yeah,
but
man.
yeah.
Some of the funny though when you would see it, like because we'd started early too. Like
Yeah.
we'd start early, kind of during the day.
Day dancing.
Yeah, we had to be closed by
Jesus.
midnight. The funniest was when you'd see little kids walk by and they're like,
Oh,
"What?"
the dads. The dads with the strollers who then
Yeah.
do like the walk back. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
I remember you guys made games out of it. I don't know if it was like Happy that made it. Shout out to Happy Bun Bun, where she would fucking
Happy Bun Bun?
Yeah, she would hold like the pitcher like in her butt cheeks, and like you would have to throw money into it because you couldn't touch each other.
Yeah.
So people would like just ball up money.
She
yeah,
called it booty pong.
yeah.
And
There was
And Cassandra, who had tits.
Yeah,
It was
Cassandra.
titty
Yeah.
pong. So
Oh, my
Made
yeah,
a
we
game
had
out
to
of it.
improvise.
yeah. Their Venmos and like all that kind of
Yeah.
shit up there, man. It was crazy
It
times.
was crazy, but y'all, came through
Yeah.
and did the goddamn dance
Dude,
with us.
that's how I fucking ended up here, man. I would just show up and start cleaning shit up.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, fuck it. They need somebody to do it that they don't gotta fucking pay. And I got a million jobs at the time. I would just come on, like when I got off work or on my day off, and I was just like, I wipe down these tables, I close up these chairs.
Yeah, you would help break the tables down outside and all that kind of shit.
Because
yeah.
you were closing at like 10 o'clock at that time. or
Yeah, there
something
was a
like
moment we were closing at 10, and I had
10, it was
and I had
like
tents
8.
outside and tables.
Isn't
and like,
10 like when it starts popping?
Yeah, pretty
Kinda,
much.
yeah.
It was fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Like to think back on it, it's
It was
fucking
wild.
crazy.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah, we survived through it.
did the damn thing.
Should have
Yeah.
videotaped it and made a documentary out of that shit.
Ugh,
Actually,
I
one
don't-
of
I
my
don't wanna
friends
relive
did
it.
Really?
came in and document at least like me dancing. 'Cause remember we had the pole back here too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is a whole
That would
snippet
have been a
about
sick
it.
documentary, bro.
Yeah.
Because he was, I forget the gentleman's name, but essentially it was him documenting artists in pandemic times.
Pandemic pole.
I
So
vaguely
it was
remember
like-
that. I remember when he came in and did that. Yeah,
So there was that. He did a graffiti artist. Forget who else, but anyway, yeah, because it was a very different time.
yeah. It was fucking weird. It was a weird couple of years.
Very different time.
Yeah.
A lot of good shit came out of it, at least for me.
Yeah, no, listen, some good shit came some good shit came out of it to me. I got some whatever, spend some time with quality people and whatever, kind of fucking, but yeah, it was also so stressful.
Yes.
Stressful, but whatever. Just some good
But
shit.
we
came
did
out.
it, Joe. We did
We came out of
pandemic
it. We came
dancing.
out.
Let me ask you, Star, how was it growing up in Texas?
Oh, well.
Because I only drove through the top of Texas, and I didn't like it.
The panhandle, if you will.
I like where Texas meets Oklahoma.
The Texarkana. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I did not
that's
like
a
it.
special place. So I would always, joke that Texas is big enough for it to be equal parts shitty and decent, because there is, which I think kind of still rings true. Maybe not over. It's very wild to watch, things get announced from and about Texas over the last year or so, because of their regressive politics. It's really like it's something.
Texas has its good points and bad
It does
points,
though.
you know?
It does. That's why
Ribs,
I said.
meat,
But
barbecue.
it just
women
and food.
Well, parts of El Paso. I swear by this and I'll die on this hill. El Paso, Texas. That's where you have your Mexican food. It's different in Dallas. San Antonio's its own flavor, but if you want like the real deal, El Paso.
It's because they just throw it right over the wall.
It's that border is just non-existent. I mean, well, it exists, and also the wall existed before any of that talk. Because there is a wall. It's a shitty wall, but there is one. I digress. So growing up in El Paso, Texas is its own hang. And my whole point is that every part of Texas is its own hang. Dallas is different than El Paso. El Paso is different from San Antonio. San Antonio is different from Austin. And everyone also forgets that when they, of the whole phrase, everything's bigger in Texas, it is huge, man. It is the distance. Like when I moved here and y'all talking about how you go to Jersey and Pennsylvania like in a day or some shit like that, I'm like, yeah, no, we can't even go across the same state in a day. To get to, like from El Paso to Dallas, it's a 9-hour drive, and it's 9 hours because you're also time changing. You're leaving.
Time changing what?
You're leaving. I'm answering your question.
I'm sorry.
You're leaving Mountain Time to Central Time. It's the only city in Texas with mountains and mountain times and with mountains because it's the last chain of the Rocky Mountains.
That's insane, bro.
So then coming back, it's 8 hours because you lose that extra hour from Central to Mountain.
Shit.
Wild,
Texas
right?
is fucking huge.
It's huge.
It's huge.
When I was in Dallas, because I went to North Texas for undergrad, UNT, and Austin. I'm gonna say for sure Austin and Houston. Those are about 4-hour drives. So that's like where we went to party, on the weekends.
Give me a hell yes, star.
Hell yes.
Here we go.
I tell you what. I tell you what. But the barbecue is actual real deal, and the flavor of both. Trying to find like really good brisket and really.
What the fuck's a brisket?
What the fuck is these Jersey questions?
I'm sorry, bro. I don't
What the
fucking.
fuck is a brisket?
I never had a brisket before.
You ever had a sloppy Joe?
Yeah, it's just with chopped meat.
But a
Why don't you
little
go down the
flavorful.
block to fucking Pigs Beach?
Or Dinosaur Barbecue, any of those. Yeah, there's a few Fisher Price, my first
Hometown.
brisket around here that you could like try.
Fuck is a
I
brisket?
just never heard of a fucking bro. I never had a brisket, bro. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It's just
Eat
like
in
a
Jersey. Is everything
Carvel's. I think
Carvel's is shit, man.
Carvel's, Friendlies, or what's the other one?
I just know
don't
Carvel.
Yeah. Okay.
tofu? Everybody in fucking Jersey's out there
Garden
eating
State.
fucking tofu.
Bro, I grew up around Ricans, bro. I had rice, beans, chicken.
Oh, well, it's
I don't know what the
okay.
fuck. I don't know what a brisket is,
Well,
man.
you got flavor in your life. That's what's up. Good.
Yeah, you gotta
eat.
It's fine.
There's some okay barbecue places
There is some okay.
in Brooklyn.
Like you say brisket, I think of like some big thick piece of fucking meat.
That's exactly what
It's
it is.
exactly what
Okay.
it is.
It
yeah.
is, and
Alright.
it just depends. There's different variations. Some people. Everyone has their brisket recipe. I digress.
Okay.
But so growing up, where I grew up with the demographic is predominantly Hispanic. And then as you go further out east into Dallas and the Texarkana area, it's a little more mixed. But I will say Texas loves to, they love to bust potheads, that's for sure. Like, that's one thing. They will be the last state to ever legalize marijuana.
Really?
Ever, ever, ever.
So let's drink and get our livers fucked
Oh,
up.
yeah,
but,
no, like,
don't
you
let-
can drink and drive till the cows come home because, and that's an actual epidemic that I don't think everyone's ready to talk about of how, like, especially in the South, drinking and driving. Because, yeah, they, forever criminalize and demonize pot and,
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Texas is weird, man. They get the highest.
Are you
uh,
high right now, Jeff? You stoned?
The liquid death.
They get the
Sneaking
highest
in.
death penalty. Like they execute people
They
all the
love-
fucking
yeah.
For
time.
weed?
No, but like
Oh.
for anything.
For anything.
Yeah.
Shit.
Probably, yes, depending on what county, But that's the point is they are so extreme and, for the crowd of don't tell me what to do, they love to tell you what to do.
Yeah, they have private prisons in Texas.
Fuck
It's
yeah,
like
man.
fucking-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Texas has joined the bandwagon with like it's in the Dallas DFW area with like banning books.
They banned books.
Yeah, there's some of the schools. Oh,
Yo,
yeah.
I'm just learning this shit right now, bro. I'm like,
Tennessee. Well, yeah, it's been this whole thing anyway. But they've been on this regressive politics of within the curriculum of what's happening in public schools in Texas with certain literature being banned, with obviously after Roe v. Wade being overturned and the absolute lack of abortion rights, because those do not exist. And Texas was one of the first to, issue one of the most extreme abortion laws.
And people like living there?
Yeah, because of, the taxes are super cheap, I guess. But although that's changing because so many people have flocked there, so now it's created this whole...
Well, and the taxes are cheap. And, like, listen, when COVID hit, too, Texas didn't give a fuck.
They
were
didn't,
just like,
yeah.
I think they closed for a week or two, and they're like, everything was, like, back open.
Yep.
So Texas got a huge influx of people. Everybody moved there.
Yep.
But then all of a sudden, like, Roe versus Wade got overturned and all this kind of crazy shit. And everybody's like, fuck, where the fuck did we move to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was, whatever. It's got its good points and bad points.
It does. And I mean, and it's what you make of it. Because one of my burlesque colleagues, Matt Knife, and his partner, they just moved to Austin. And Austin is pretty much like the New York of Texas.
Okay.
In terms of being welcoming, if you will, and the most diverse, and a safe haven for marginalized, individuals from LGBTQ, the LGBTQIA group to, POC to everyone
I'm
else.
shocked. I'm shocked that they want to live down there.
I mean, there's opportunities, and because when he had posted that, he was very much like, keep y'all's opinions to yourself, because it was something good for the both of them. And I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really argue with whatever's going to work for whoever. That's just, fucking fact.
Yeah, and I know a couple of people that actually moved to Texas in the past couple of years, and they love it down there.
Yeah, and the idea, I mean, there should be more of a flock from all these other groups that, you would think would not, be there for that reason, because it's like that shit can't stand. Like, it's not, first of all, I mean, there's queer people everywhere, and it's not just New York, and so the more that it becomes like commonplace, and that they have voices in places like Texas and Mississippi and everywhere else, then the more that this stops being an issue altogether.
I would like to go to Galveston one day.
Galveston is fun, but man, Galveston is like, I say this, it's like the Puerto Rico of Texas, because
Yeah?
the second it gets hit, it's like it gets destroyed. And it takes them forever to rebuild.
Yeah, it's been rebuilt a couple times.
Several fucking times.
Yeah, but I thought
not a couple.
Yeah, well, I know there was like a huge one in like 1912 or some crazy shit that like wiped. Galveston's like on the water. You know what Texas looks like, right?
Yeah, I know it takes.
Do they give you maps in Jersey?
Yeah. It's on the water. It's supposed to be beautiful, like a little beach town.
What, by
and
the
all this
Gulf,
kind of
or you
shit.
talking about-
Yeah, it's in the Gulf.
Okay.
Texas only is on
See,
the
I know
Gulf.
I know literature, all that shit, man.
It's not literature, that's geography.
Shut up, man.
But it looks beautiful. But yeah, no. But I thought they built some big fucking walls after 1912 when everything got wiped out. Now it still happens.
They shittily did it, I guess. I'm not in charge of their infrastructure, but point is, it's it takes a toll when shit does roll through there. But it is fun.
Someday I'm gonna take a nice roll through.
Someday.
all of
Have fun in
Texas.
Texas, bro.
I've been in Dallas. I've been to Dallas. Dallas was cool.
There's some stuff there.
Yeah.
Just the airport. That's it.
Dallas Airport.
That or when I
that's
was at, that's where
That's it.
JFK got shot.
Yeah.
At the airport?
No, not at the airport. No, not at the airport.
Yeah. I actually know a guy who owned the book suppository, the building, the book suppository that JFK got shot out of. And it was crazy, a whole crazy story to it. But like he ended up getting it taken away from his family because the city wanted it.
Oh,
And it was
damn.
like, yeah.
Could have been a fucking photo op, man.
Yeah, he was in court for a long time fighting it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Oh shit, they could do that.
Yeah, they eminent domain. They took it.
Cocksuckers with that eminent domain
Yeah.
shit.
They ended up paying him for it, but it was like, at first his family bought it because they were going to rip it down. And he's
Yeah.
like, fuck, why are you going to rip it down? It's a landmark, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
dude.
So he bought it, and then apparently the state tried to take it away from him, like a few years after
Did
he
they
bought
tear it down?
No, they kept it. Now it's like a museum or some
Fuck.
shit. Yeah. Something, I don't know what the fuck it is now.
Man, they
Yeah,
tore
crazy.
down the fucking building Dahmer lived in, bro, but they won't tear that down?
Yeah, they did tear that fucking building.
Priorities,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they made a Netflix show out of him.
Jesus.
Yeah. So you deal with a lot of shit too, like listen, all you girls deal with so much shit. Like, I could not do it. Like, the girls, the shit that these girls got to deal with on the... Jamal threw one out last night. There was a guy in here who was super fucking creepy.
What do you do?
You know what I
Fucking
mean?
drooling at the mouth.
Yeah.
Really? Like you had a brisket?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a brisket. See, okay, now
Exactly.
you know what we're talking about. Yeah.
There you go.
And I see the dudes, like, fucking, stand by the corner, and I see dudes just, like, creeping up, like, wanting to, like, whatever.
Really?
Yeah. Dudes,
Yeah.
All the fucking time.
dudes are
man.
creepy, man. Guys are
Holy
creepy.
shit.
And it's for the burlesque world, too. Like, all the girls in the burlesque world are awesome. Whatever. Most of the ones that I've met. But the dudes in the burlesque world, fucking, a
It's
lot
dudes?
of those...
Yes, there's boyless.
What do they put a little pasty around a little schnizzle?
Well, usually they don't show it, but they will put pasties on themselves.
Ah, okay.
You know, in solidarity.
I'm guessing you've
or
never
their
seen
ass, or they will. They'll add one over their underwear.
I'm
if
not
you will.
sheltered,
Well-
man, but
Are you sure? Because you didn't know what brisket was.
when we
That's pretty sheltered.
Well, when we first opened up here, there was a guy who was throwing burlesque stuff here. And you
Oh,
both
yes,
know,
I
you know
heard,
who the
yes.
fuck he is.
Yes.
He's the biggest fucking creep. You know what I mean?
Really?
And like, and there's a few of those dudes in that world. I'm like, listen, all in all, you got to deal with some fucking shit between the dudes on the bar and then the creepy burlesque guys and then the fucking douchey opera people.
It's a lot. I
It's
mean,
good. You got to have a thick skin.
you do. But do it with a smile.
You do. You know what? And that's what with Star. She's always got a smile. She always says, "Hey, how you doing?" She get wasted and cut yelling sometimes, but for the most part, she's.
I mean, it's yelling with love.
We all have to.
We all have to. I don't want to yell.
Yeah.
I only will if I need to. But
I don't want to yell either, but it scares the shit out of people when I do.
You should fucking like operatic yell at them when you yell at them.
Oh, that would be fucking dope.
Yeah.
that'll just confuse
Get
them.
away from me.
Get
That'd be awesome.
It'd be like a
No,
yeah.
no, like
You totally should. It's like a fucking horn, like a horn honking. Yeah,
Dude, that'd be fucking awesome.
they'd be caught off guard. And be like, what?
I mean, that's an extra $2
Yeah,
for
fuck
that
yeah.
hay or whatever.
Yeah,
I
do
said
that
to
and
you.
then hold your little garter up. Like, okay,
Exactly.
tip me.
Thank you.
Tip me.
Next. Those were the days. No, it's fine.
How did the metal grade thing start?
So that started, funnily enough, via a patron. You would think would be a creepy question, but I mean, is Gary.
Okay, yeah.
You remember Gary?
Yeah.
So Gary, who was a patron predominantly pre-pandemic, knew Melissa through pumps and whatnot, and anyway, came to the bar, and he specifically works in lighting with like hanging and rigging.
That Gary, yes.
Yes, that Gary. So before, I know, Celine Dion, it's all coming back to you now. You're right. Yeah. So there's a lot of Garys, a lot
Yeah,
of
we
bearded
do.
dudes. I
I'm
know.
like, man, we got, like,
Anyway, so
6
that
Garys.
Gary
Yes.
came in, and I will entertain as much as a conversation while I'm on the bar for anything, And so Gary, in talking to me while I'm, my leg is in the air and being cute and all this other shit, and I mentioned that I worked in production, and because I have done lighting focuses, and I know that world as well. So we were then spinning off on conversations about lighting. And he came back one day, and I had mentioned also that I am in Burlesque. I had actually just finished producing that opera. So it was sort of interesting in the timing of it, because the opera had just finished, and he came to the bar, and Gary, my best impression of Gary done with love is like, "Hey, Star, so I have these lights, and I've been talking to Jeff, and he said it's fine. I was thinking that, if I hang these lights, and you have to, for all the girls that that we can maybe, I don't know, create like a burlesque show. What do you think? Like,
That's the perfect impression.
That was a perfect impression of
and
Gary.
so with that, I'm like, I don't know if you're serious, but sure as shit, he was serious, because you remember he would bring all those fucking
Yeah,
lights.
yeah.
So that was kind of the whole bargain, if you will. It started with him, I'll bring these lights to create these looks, because our, lighting, well, this is lovely, for those who are watching, it's not staged lighting, if you will. I digress. So Gary had all these lights. Jeff agreed to let him hang it. I was then in charge of wrangling a group of, babes to do these shows. And originally, as I mentioned in, when your original question of what makes a burlesque show, Gary was the one who essentially had the budget. And it was just my job to, wrangle people and then host. And then that, as it grew, then, we split those responsibilities. Then the pandemic hit. And essentially, Gary had a lot going on. And much love to him. But he couldn't continue because he was, dealing with his own shit and work and family stuff. And while, we were day dancing here, I certainly didn't want to let the show go. So then I took it very much all under my own. And we went virtual. You can still actually look up on Vimeo because that's how, at first everyone was doing virtual shows on Instagram, and then Zuckerberg was like, no titties, just family during this time. And so nobody, and that's pretty much what started a lot of like these shadow bannings within the nightlife and, sex work communities, because everyone, that's where we flocked to continue to spread our content. And this is before OnlyFans and all this other shit. Anyway, so I took it virtual. I kept it going, and then we came back, and it's just, I've been keeping it going ever since. So this has been my...
Did Gary ever try to come back and say, I want to be a part of it again?
Not necessarily. He did come back once, and we essentially had a conversation about how, I thanked him for his service, if you will, but this is...
Because I thought there was going to be like a creepy ending with this dude.
Listen, I try. I lead with love. I lead with love, and I lead with kindness, and I certainly don't ever like to have bad blood for anything. And like I said, much love to Gary. It's just, he couldn't continue it, and I couldn't wait. And I, wanted to continue it for both as, a project for myself and the community, but also for the bar, because it started at the bar. And part of, what makes it specific to the bar is I always feature another one of the dancers here. So outside of myself, running the whole gambit, it's also, paying back homage to the bar with featuring one of our own. And it just goes, it's a thing that expands the Lucky's name outside of people just knowing it as a bikini bar.
Okay.
If that
We
makes
appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate, making the magic happen. Thank you for letting me say titties on the microphone.
So is there another metal grade coming up this weekend?
There is, because it is the last Sunday coming up. So All Hallows Eve. It's always a 9:30 show. It ends, relatively by midnight, because then everyone's got to fucking work, because Monday. It's always $10 in this economy, so you can either get a Subway footlong or you can see some titties. There will be a tarot reader. Listen, no offense.
You can't stick it in your mouth, but you can see the titties.
Exactly. Unlike that Subway footlong. Yeah. But listen, you could at least, you get a Rolodex of, extra things for your spank bank. How about that? That's the gift that keeps on giving. The whole goddamn year round.
All I hear in my head is titties.
Titties. That's pretty much it. When I get on the phone to Mike Tesla, I'm like, titties 1, 2, 3, titties 1, 2, 3, titties 3, 2, 1, titties 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and it's better than the Subway sandwich.
You got some fucking funny people that work at Jeff. I love it, bro. I love it here, man.
Yeah.
It is we're a crew of characters, that's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, it's definitely not boring.
There's not one, and not one of us dancers are alike either. We each have our own personality. That's the beauty of it.
Oh yeah, all of you guys are completely different.
We're total fucking, crazy pirates.
Yeah.
In our own right. There's not, you kind of have to be to aboard this ship.
Fuck yeah, you do.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, to put up with whatever, man. Yes, it's crazy here.
Were you a part of because I remember in when you the old Lucky, you had burlesque shows, right?
We did have burlesque shows. That was, you're going back now. We've been
way
here
back,
for almost 9 years. So
I was not.
Okay.
Yeah, we started to. It was a small spot, but yeah, we used to do burlesque shows over there. And a lot of those girls do big burlesque stuff now who kind of started that back in the day. And
those are real OGs.
Yeah. I remember seeing, once in a while I'll still see, I don't remember anybody's fucking name, but once in a while I'll see.
So you don't fraternize with the people, that's what you say.
I don't. Back then I used to a little bit more. I used to kind of.
One set of tits is just the mall. So
yeah.
It all looks the same.
And back then I was at the bar 7 nights a week, and I just physically can't fucking do that anymore. I'm here during the day more than I am at night. But yeah, girls like Lucy Buttons and all these big burlesque girl names that like I still see them. I'm like, oh shit, she used to do something at Lucky 13 years ago. So yeah, it was different. It was a different space.
Oh, okay. I thought she was a part of it. I'm sorry.
No.
It was a different time.
Yeah,
Different chapter.
It was a while ago too, man. It's fucking almost crazy. Time flies, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was a while ago.
Because we're going on 20 years.
Yeah, next year,
20 fucking
2023 is going to be 20 fucking years.
God
yes.
damn.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've survived.
Your baby's
We've
not old
survived.
enough to drink. One more year, your baby be old enough to drink.
Yeah. They can vote.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, next year, dude, we're gonna do a whole bunch of like 20-year events and all that kind of shit. I'll hopefully be able to announce that kind of shit soon. But yeah, working on crazy.
Well, you just
shit.
announced it right now.
Hey.
Yes, but I got some big.
That was the soft announcement.
Yes, I got some big bands we're looking to book. We're gonna do a whole bunch of shit next year, so it'll be fun. Yeah, I might need to go to rehab at the end of 2020.
Hey. They got nice ones in Florida. You go so often.
Yeah,
you know.
I know.
Be by the beach,
I
lose your
know.
mind.
I got to spend a couple months down there.
There's a fucking restaurant in Miami called Lucky 13.
Fucking
that-
kill them, bro.
There was a bar in San Francisco called Lucky 13. That's closed now.
Good, good.
I mean, there's a bar in Manhattan called Lucky.
Yeah, Lucky Bar.
Yeah, there's a bar.
That's pretty.
There's actually a bar in like the middle, in the Midwest somewhere, called Lucky 13 Saloon. They only
Really?
opened up over the past
What?
couple of years. Yes.
Cocksuckers.
Well, it was funny because it was like during the day, and all of a sudden I got a phone call. They're like, "Yo, how do I get there?" I'm like, "Well, where are you?" And they're like, we're on like route whatever, and I'm like, I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And so I Googled it, and they opened up like a couple of years ago, but they're in the Midwest somewhere. I have no fucking idea.
This is like a regular like a fucking.
It's like a
Cowboy
biker bar.
bar?
Yeah, it's like a biker bar with like a pool table and all that kind of shit. So
Right
I'm
out
sure.
there.
Okay,
See
but
what the fuck
Fisher
that
Price
place is
Midwest
about.
style.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely like nothing like this place. But I'm sure you can hear Leonard Skinner on the jukebox and all that kind of shit. But
Freebird.
yeah.
Freebird.
But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll go out there and bring my T-shirts.
Fucking sue them, bro.
Dude, we can't trademark it.
Just bring
No?
one of us and we'll just start
No.
dancing on the bar too.
How can you not trademark the name?
So we tried to, when we first opened up, we tried to trademark it, but there's too many Lucky 13s out there.
You're
course,
Lucky
of
13
course.
Saloon.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
There's
matter.
Lucky 13 brand. There's
bastards.
whatever. There's so many Lucky 13 things out there. So
Yeah,
we can't.
I got added by a Lucky 13 tattoos on fucking
Yeah, there's a
Instagram.
tattoo
yeah.
shop. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. Where's that?
I have no fucking idea. I'm just like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, you're supposed to Google them and be like, where the fuck are you?
And I was
Who the fuck are you?
I
For
said,
that
fuck
matter.
them. These tattoos are whack.
Yeah. Oh, shit. All right, we'll start wrapping it up. So we'll see you this Sunday.
You'll see me actually. I'll be back on the bar Saturday with Val behind the bar. So it'll be me, Ksenia, and Leah on the bar. And then Sunday's my show. So Metal Grade Babes Burlesque. Let the ghoul times roll.
Monday is our fucking
Who doesn't?
Halloween
Yeah.
party.
See? Who doesn't love
Let the
a
ghoul
shitty
times
dumb
roll.
pun?
Yes, we have events. We have events all weekend. We have starting Thursday. We have a Halloween thing going on Thursday. We have one on Friday. We have one on Saturday. Stars Burlesque show on Sunday, and
Fucking
and
Halloween
then,
party on
and then a
All
Halloween
right.
party on Monday. So
Monday's the banger.
yeah. And I got a wedding to go to on Saturday.
What?
Wham.
Yeah,
Wham for
yeah.
you. You have to get dressed and get drunk
I
with,
know, up in New Hampshire.
you
though.
know, hot ass Diane. I'm so sorry, Jeff. Jesus.
You got a rough
It'll
life,
be
Jeff.
fun.
You got a real rough
Jesus.
life.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Star, well, thank you very much. And so, what's the one you got here coming up? Just plug all your things.
Plug all my things.
Plug
All
them
right.
all.
Coming up right now. So if you're in Brooklyn, I am hosting a goth party at Eris Evolution on Friday. Saturday, I'm here on the bar dancing the night away. There's bands. There's a whole evening of bands, so check that shit out.
Yes, and our song guy Mark Charles
Yeah.
is playing. You gotta check him out.
Sunday is my show, Metal Grade Babes Burlesque. Let the ghoul times roll. It is always the last Sunday of every month here at Lucky 13 Saloon, and it always features myself running a crazy ass titty show and featuring another co-babe here at Lucky 13 Saloon. And my other show, it won't be this November as I'll be out of town. I'll be doing fun shit with my mom in Orlando. But the first Thursday of the month is my other show, Queen's Court at Freddy's Bar.
Nice.
And yeah, so
Instagram, Facebook. You want to plug all that shit?
Facebook. Don't bother with Facebook. Fuck Facebook. But
Facebook is
Instagram,
right.
it's at Queen Sinera. So Queen, and then the rest of it spelled SINERA _ VDLP. You can find me there. All my shit is there. And yeah, and if you come see me while I'm at the bar and say hi and all this other shit, I am nice.
Don't be fucking weird.
Don't be weird.
Yeah, don't be weird.
Yeah, don't be weird.
Don't blow crazy noises.
Yeah, no, do not do that. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Cowboys
Good
from
shit.
Hell, Instagram.
Well, you said it already.
Yeah.
All right,
Cowboy from Hell
on Instagram.
_13.
There you go.
Yeah.
You gotta
Dee-
say it's the Jamal way.
Yeah.
All right, man. Make sure you guys out there like everything Lucky 13 Saloon, Lucky 13 SP, everything. You know the motherfucking drill.
Yes.
And we will see you guys in a week.
2 weeks.
2
Oh,
weeks.
2 weeks.
2
That's
weeks.
right, yeah.
Not around next week. Following week.
Yeah, gotta take Mama Dukes to the dog hospital.
Hey.
do it.
Hey, gotta do it.
All
Gotta
right.
do it.
Later.
All right, guys, man. Peace out.
Thanks. Bye.